Yo guys, I got some Marasai to go over with you guys. I did a lot of fragging in this clip. Also did a lot of limit testing in this clip, so there's a lot of things for me to talk about in regards to how far you can push Marasai and why I ended up putting it in a low tier. So starting off, we get a nice little hook on the Sazabi, blow him up. That's one of the strengths of Marasai, is the ability to pull characters that are high value kills into your team and kill them. However, what you're also going to see is a lot of is also me fragging, but really it's a lot of the awkwardness of Marasai having a long range damage ability in addition to a hook, and how while it feels right to consistently be going for hooks, a lot of times you actually shouldn't. So get another hook. So I've now been responsible for 3 of the kills. That's why I said fragging. Kind of popped off for the beginning part of this game. Slowed down a little bit later too, but like I said, lots of limit pushing. I was going into this network test, definitely trying to experiment with the characters and see how far I can push them. This is a really, really good position. It's safe and covered, and anything that comes to the point you can target. You just have to be careful about something pulling up on you from the right side, like the Zaku's trying. Here, for example, is a good time where you don't want to do a hook. It's better to just go for the kill. You do more damage consistently just by shooting them, so you honestly don't even really need to go for a hook there, and I didn't on the Zaku, I ended up killing it. Meanwhile, you see other times where I go for hooks, and then I have losing like 1v1s because of that. Pull the GUNTANK in. Nice secured kill. Make sure it doesn't get rezzed. Finish it off easy. And then just keep pushing this. This is sort of a circumstance earlier with the Pale Rider kill where you want to just shoot them in the face. Unfortunately, my team ends up feeding, but I'm not really feeling like slowing things down, so I'm just going to keep pushing this. Get a little bit of healing. Go for an aggro play. I end up getting punched a little bit by it, but like, I thought he was going to peek again, so I went for my ult. Like I said, limit testing, didn't get it. It's okay. It's good to learn. But then I discovered this really lovely little flank here. This is something I didn't know was in the map and was making me feel weird about the map. But now that I know it's in there, it's really good. Also, for the record, you can use your close range ability before they're pulled into you, basically at any time, and it'll still hit them. So it's oftentimes a more effective way to do that. It does push them back, but then you get the shot on them right after that. And you have a higher like average damage. My team ends up getting pushed back. I end up getting pulled back a little bit, and we die there. This sort of a map where they have these 2 CP maps, I forgot exactly what they call point capture. Yeah, point capture maps. You have to be taking 6v6 fights. You can't let them get picks on you. If they get a pick on you while you're pushing up, your chances of winning drop drastically just because of how close their spawns are. So you have to be really careful about that. And that's one of the issues with this game mode as a whole, and why they're honestly taking out of Overwatch 2, and why I wish Gundam Evolution had paid attention to that a little bit. Against these similar HP suits, it's oftentimes better to just shoot them in the face. I ended up going to try and hook the Pale Rider there, and it was too slippery. The hook is a little bit awkward on Marasai right now. I started getting the feel of it, as you guys can tell, from the earlier section of the clip where I got like 4 hooks in a row. But it's not as consistent as something like Roadhog's hook. And again, in this situation, getting a hook isn't really going to do that much for me, so it's better to just click on them. And something that I was also going to talk about, and why I talk about in my tier list video about why Marasai is awkward and not that good, is because it's been given the HP and the defensive capabilities of a character that just wants to stand up top and shoot them. Like a character like GM Sniper here that just wants to sit up top and shoot them. But it's supposed to be a hook character. When you hit a hook on these sorts of characters, unless you're hard feeding, you should be able to get the kill. But in Marasai, you can't. I personally want them to give Marasai a slight HP buff in addition to a damage reduction when you hook something, just because unless you're alone with them or really are with your team and not getting targeted by anything, you're going to die. And that's not how the game should go for this character. It'd be like a little bit like making Roadhog what it is, making its damage a little bit longer, but then giving it like only 300 HP. it has a really massive hitbox, just like Marasai does, it'll die. So I drop here to contest the point. Because I know how I have my ultimate, unfortunately a Metis ends up sneaking behind me. I just don't even know when it got there. I do end up almost securing the kill on it. We do end up winning. Played perfectly fine there. But yeah, I dropped because I have my ultimate, because I knew it was going to work exactly really well in an area like that, and so I was going to pop it in the enemies that came down. Skipping over to our defense, we end up holding really aggressively, and I knew it was kind of a bad idea, but I let it happen just for limit testing purposes. If your team gets wiped here, they're going to get the first point. As a side note, Cracker Grenade right there, that's why it's strong, because it pushes you out of position. I'm not going to rewind because we have a bunch to go over, but Cracker Grenade will push you backwards if you stand out in front of it. So if you throw it on a corner, there's a lot of chance that something's going to get pushed forward into your team. I know people think Cracker Grenade is bad, but Zaku 2 didn't even need it in the first place, and it has a displacement ability. Very powerful. But like I was saying, they respawn so quickly, and if your team gets wiped, you're going to lose first. It's why it's usually better just not to do it. Only if you have a plan where you can have a few of your team holding really close and someone else like a GM sniper holding really far back, and have really good angle control where you're able to stuff them and choke and buy a lot of time. But that's really only if you're expecting to just go for buying a lot of time. And here I'm going to learn a pretty unfortunate aspect of my close range ability here. Hit a nice hook, nice tracking, go for the ability, and it pushes you forward slightly. Normally that's not an issue, but when you're standing on a ledge, that'll get you killed. It almost did to me. I'm fighting as hard as I can to contest this. I'll go for the touch, but just a little bit not enough for the rest of my team not being alive to help me. So we're here. Now, as a hook-based character, as a pick character, which my character really is, what is my goal here? My goal is to honestly get a kill. Even if I'm consistently trading my life for something else, I'm perfectly happy. If I get a kill and die, get a kill and die, and get a kill and die off cooldown, I'm perfectly content. Just because of the fact that I will be respawning faster. So it's essentially like turning our fights into a constant 5.5 versus 5. It's very advantageous. Now, personally, in this sort of a match, I'm actually not trying to do that because I know that the skill level of the people I'm playing against is not that amazing. Just by the fact that the beta test is not fully fleshed out a full elo system yet. But so I actually, wouldn't want to be trading. It's not like you want to just intentionally trade. But in general, yeah, it's actually really good to do that kind of stuff. And of course, I had the fattest ultimate of my life in vision right there, but the enemy did not pull around that corner. I did trade though. So traded and secured a kill, I believe there. So then fully swept the kill. Always retake from high grounds if you can. It just gives you options to drop if you need to. And is an angle of protection you can use to be safe on. So always be doing that. And I do end up getting killed here, but this is a good usage of my close range melee ability when I'm not hooked. It has a quite decently long range. You can use it just to get secure damage on something. It's 400 and to just push them off of you. Orange, I believe. Might be 350. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but it is a solid amount of damage. But as you can see, this is a good angle that I can retreat from. That is a health pack behind me. I have to be a little bit cautious about it, but yes, I'm playing into a lot of people. I did get my trade though. As we talked about, I die, but I get my trade. So pushing back into here, they're hard pressuring the point. I would have hooked anything that showed up there. I don't want to be on the point, but I'm feeling pressured to get there because I don't know if my teammates are going to touch the point. So I can't push out the high ground. So we end up on the point here, and we end up losing this section here. So going into our attack, same repetition here. Gosh, English is a bit difficult for me sometimes, guys. So I was experimenting here, trying to see how far I can push and whether they can actually see me in a situation like this. But it does secure me a solid position that I don't end up using as advantageously as I would have liked to. So we get the GM sniper killed main, and I'm pushing high ground. Get a nice kill, and I end up dropping, and unfortunately my team wasn't quite there with me yet. And that wasn't on them, it was really more on me. Like, yeah, we could have been pushing it, but I went a little bit too aggro there. I shouldn't have dropped yet. I should have probably rotated out towards the left of the high ground and just played my positioning there. So it was a bit of a feat on my part. But I did still make a lot of space, and I secured the kill on the Pale Rider, so, which I believe got rezzed, but that's beside the point. Approach from an alternate angle here. Gives me a lot of control. If the enemy had been playing in this area, I would have had a nice little cover. Especially in this game, because every character is very independent, you always want to be trying to take some sort of an off angle. Not a hard off angle where you're going to be by yourself and feed, but something soft like I did. I do miss my ability, but I was trying to get double damage on 2 of them, just because I knew I was going to die. I pushed onto their side to try and get the health back, and that's a good example of limit testing. But my habit right now is not ideal, where I need to be going to my team rather than away from them when I'm low. It's situational, and depending on what character you are, you can take a lot of aggro from the enemy and distract them a lot, and I still got value out of it. It's just not as good as me pushing into the enemies. Sorry, my team. Also, I don't really know what happened to my ultimate. That was... I have to show this one again. Just... I think I get a hit marker here. Yeah, I do. I think I do hit the Sosby with it, but it doesn't travel fast enough, I guess. That just goes to show that the activations of these abilities are a little bit funky, but they're also not... You also just need to pay attention to how they activate, and I could have hit it earlier in the slitter on the corner and popped it and got everyone with it, and then I would have had the coolest clip of all time, but, you know, I don't because of that. As you can see here, I'm dueling against this Dom Trooper. Go for the hook, miss it because he LOS is the corner. I should have just clicked on him. I didn't know the range of that quite that well yet, so I shouldn't really be using it, but you're also going to see me fall trap to that the melee ability thing again. Yep, pushes me forward. And then instead of running to my team, I ran to the wrong side. And unfortunately, we're just not quite here, so things don't go too hot. Was our last push. As you can see, I was approaching from an alternate angle again. You're going to see me doing that a lot. Not too far where I can't get help from my team, because my team did help me with a Dom Trooper, but far enough that I'm able to get an alternate angle of pressure so that the enemy can't hide behind certain cover. Is really what the point of it is. As you can see this time, I choose not to hold close. My team is, but I'm choosing not to because I know it's not that good. You're super exposed and you have this huge long area to walk back on. It's just really not ideal. Also, the way the hit markers in this game are really confusing. Very confused about what I was getting hit by. If something ints behind you, just frag them. And that's how Sosby is, guys. You can't fight against like 5 people. You can barely fight against 1 sometimes. Even this positioning I'm in right now is a little bit aggressive. Our team's pulled back too far. We need to be watching this main angle and the one on the left here. We're about to get pulled up on from behind, I can tell. I should have played this corner. I went a little bit aggressive here. However, I did get the hook that unfortunately gets saved by the Dom Trooper. So I should have been disciplined and let my HP heal here, but I kind of look like an enemy's ability, so I used it. And even though I'm half HP, I get a hook, but you don't get the kill if you're half HP. You sometimes don't even get it if you're full HP, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. If I'm playing Roadhog and I hook something with 300 HP, I'm perfectly fine. Partially because I have a heal to secure myself with, but 300 HP is a decent amount in Overwatch. Half of Roadhog's HP is equivalently more than Marasai has. Marasai only has 20% more HP than the standard character. Whereas Roadhog's half HP is 150% of the standard character. So juicy ultimate here that unfortunately I get pushed away from. Or maybe I boosted. No, I definitely got pushed away from it. A little bit tragic, to be completely honest, but it does end up securing us this fight. Push back in, not going crazy. Again, that's a situation where it's if something's not low HP, it's probably better for me to just frag it. The hook doesn't... My character is capable of doing the damage without the hook, is basically what it is. Roadhog is really not. Roadhog's damage is very inconsistent. Hook characters in general, damage is very inconsistent. It does put this character in a really interesting thing where it's able to do more than just a standard character is, but it also isn't as in general powerful just because they decide to get multiple capabilities instead of just the one hook thing. So it's more reliable. Granted, the numbers are really low right now, but it's more reliable, but it's not as powerful because of that overall. It's a little awkward. Also, as a side note, we clean up this fight here, and that's that. Just playing corners, playing secure. As a side note, here you get to see the power, the quote unquote power of a gun tank. Yeah, he blocks my ability, but I have like half my HP, and he can't kill me. I probably could have 1v1'd at that point. Garbage character. Sorry, not sorry. Make sure to check out these 6 mobile suit guides. They're very well thought out in comparison to my other videos. Really organized, talking about abilities, how to play the character, when to play, what the strengths and weaknesses, and more. Thanks guys for watching. If you like the videos, then please give me a subscribe. I would appreciate it. And later guys.